Hi, I'm David, and I'm going to be reviewing the Canon SL3 in 4K. So this is the Canon SL3 in 4K. I want to let you in on the Canon app. As you can see right here, this is giving me control options. Now, one thing I've been struggling with this app lately with the ScanDisk memory camera capture card that I'm using is that one of the issues I'm having is sometimes the videos when I record them, they're not coming through. So I have to make sure that I do a test when I press play on this app. That seems to be the catalyst, particularly with this memory card. So it could be the memory card, it could be the app, but once I do it on the actual camera, it's never an issue. So what I might do is instead of editing the video from the beginning where you just see me come in, I might just actually show myself coming forward, pressing the button. So you can see how simple it is. I just come, press a button to turn it on, and I press a button to turn it off. So you can get a good visual of exactly what's going on. So the audio, when we play the audio, you're gonna have background noises going on in the background, but you won't hear them because I'm gonna scrub the audio. So you'll get a good sense of how this camera can operate without the distractions of bad audio. And I will do a recording on the audio I'm using. I'm using the RX9 Advance, which I will eventually have a link in the description. So you can go ahead and click on that and potentially get a trial and utilize that to see how you can clean up your audio. It's very simple. Once you have that software, you click on something called dialogue isolate, and that will clean up all the audio around so you won't hear distract noises. For example, these lights have fans. You won't hear those. My daughter's talking in the background. You won't hear her. There's a TV in the background. You won't hear that. So the audio scrubbing is extremely efficient. I highly recommend it. But for the sake of this video, we're focusing on the Canon 4K. We will do more videos where we focus on the different settings of the Canon, but this particular video, this is going to be focusing on the 4K aspect. The 4K aspect is additionally beneficial for you if you're doing close-ups like this. If you like the way this looks, this is with the amateur lights. We got a 100 right here. Make sure we're catching this on camera. 100 right here, 200 right here. And I got a decent backdrop, nothing more than about 50 bucks max. And I have the domes with these lights that are giving me really soft light. I'm getting heavy light, but it's extremely soft, so it's flattering. I didn't shower yet, I didn't brush my hair, didn't trim my hair or clean up my beard. So this is all very scruffy, but yet it should come out pretty clean and put together because I have such flattering light. So this camera really does well in flattering light. It does well outside as well. Let's talk about the autofocus. The autofocus does a great job in the 4K. Granted, you need to be in range. It's going to crop and do 4K. When you're doing 4K on this camera, you really should only be doing it in close-ups. I haven't tried it necessarily in long distance matters, but when I have taken glances at it, it hasn't been great. But when you do close-up focusing and recording like this, is pretty good. So if you like what you're seeing right now, this is what you're probably going to get with the SL3 in 4K. Nice and professional. Again, the audio should be clean for you, so I'm excited for you to have an opportunity to see how you can potentially make your videos for a presentation, teach in a class, or if you're a content creator like myself, you have an option to have a 4K option with this. Let me again show you the app. And with this app, you have an option to send the videos, videos or the pictures. You have the option to send those right to the phone. So I'm going to take my other phone right here, which is synced up to my old phone. I'm going to hold them both up so you can see. Now the app's on my old phone, so I can utilize it. And on my new phone, it's synced up. And what I did was I took screenshots of a video I made to make the thumbnail. And this is going to be the thumbnail I'm going to use. This image right here will be the image of the thumbnail I'm going to use. Now I took that from a recording on the camera. Now this camera actually takes even better images than, of course, taking a screenshot of a recording. We will make a video on the images that this camera can take and how it utilizes them in the near future. So you will be able to see an image of how this camera works when it does still shots and photos. But I really wanted this to be a focus on the 4K. The reason is because when I was looking for 4K information on this camera, I didn't see a whole lot of 4K information. So I wanted this to really predominantly be about 4K. Okay, as we dive into why I got this camera and why you might get it, let's talk about ease of use. This camera is great to use right out of the box. If I had gotten something a little bit more advanced, I would have struggled because I needed something that wasn't going to intimidate me, where I can get off the sidelines and jump in and start making videos. Every day I learn more about this camera, how to utilize it more, how to be more efficient, and I continue to grow with it, but I needed something where I can start right away. I did spend about an hour trying to familiarize myself with it, but you don't even need to do that. The autofocus does a great job of focusing. I'm a novice when it comes to focusing, so the manual focus aspects aren't that hard, but I'm not that great at them, not yet. So the autofocus takes all of that anxiety away from even having to do. The only time you may have to do autofocus, and I will do a video review on this, if you are doing a Zoom meeting and you want to use your camera here for your Zoom instead of your webcam, you can do that. Use an adapter called it's a CamLink setup. I use an Elgato CamLink 4. And what you do is you hook up the HDMI port of this camera into your laptop and you can utilize it. Granted, the autofocus will be showing the ability to try to autofocus. And I want you to see what that looks like by showing you what that looks like on here. Do you see that white box? You should see it. Yeah, the white box all around. That's the autofocus trying to find my face. You're going to see that on Zoom unless you turn off the autofocus setting. It took me months to figure that out, but there's actually a button on the lens where you can take it from AF to MF. AF autofocus, MF manual focus. You just click a button and it will stay in manual focus. The lines and all that will disappear. I would do it now, but I don't think there's a point. It's that simple. And also, if I do it now, I might mess up the focus. I don't think you'll also really see a difference besides you'll see a little bit on here, the white disappear. That's basically it. You don't want them in Zoom to see the white on you. I had people tell me it looks like I'm the Terminator because I have the, let me show you. If you can see the white around my face, to them, they're saying it looks like I'm the Terminator because of the box. So you want the box away. When you put it on manual focus within Zoom, you eliminate that box and you get the ability to have this beautiful picture, especially if you have great flattering lights for your Zoom. Then you just really worry about the audio. The camera audio is not terrible, but it's not great. I'm using the Rode Wireless Go with a lav, and I did a video on that, so please check out that video. There's 2 videos on that, so you can get a very good understanding of how those work. And I scrubbed the audio after, so I try to make sure the audio is as professional as I can get it, and I'm very happy with it. So all you should be worrying about after your audio, though, is your imaging. I've always heard audio is more important than visual initially when you're getting started with any sort of content. And once you get your audio together, once you get your visual, you're pretty much set. So I would focus on audio first, but then once you figure out a good plan of your audio, go ahead and take that ability and focus more on the visual. And if you're at the point where you're focusing on the visual, you're buying a camera like this, then I would get familiarized. I wouldn't use the camera audio at that point. I would assume that you're also at a point that you're not using a camera audio. So familiarize yourself with options like the Rode Wireless Go or some of the overhead audios that you can use for your camera. I hope that helps and I hope that makes some sense. Moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the battery life. The battery life's pretty great. I do have additional batteries. Right now, what I have plugged in is a plug-in battery. And with this battery, it's really great. And I'm going to see if I could mirror this so that you can see what I'm seeing, which would be fantastic. Okay. And now if you look at the camera right here, that's where the plug goes, and there's a little latch right here. You need this latch to go up, and you put the plug in, and that gives you everything you need. Also, you see right here, this is where the Rode wireless goes connected. It's right here. Now you can connect that up here, but I like to leave it hanging right here because what I like to do is I like to look at the levels. And as you can see, it might be mirrored, so it might be hard to see. The levels, I can see the levels from mic 1, mic 2. So that's what I do with the camera. It's really small. It's a beautiful setup. This camera is really great. I'm very happy with it. Let's talk about outside recording. The lighting outside, it looks fantastic, but the sun could always give you harsh lighting. Let me show you with my camera again. I'm going to mirror so you can see the domes that I have going on here. Okay, you see that right there with the diffuser. This is the aperture, and you're going to see that lighting. Now let's go here. You see that right here, this big dome on the aperture. And then again, you see my green screen, which looks great with this camera as well. So there's quite a bit of options you can do. I'm doing a few things for better lighting, obviously, as you can see on the mirrored images. But at the same token, you can just take this outside and make some really beautiful images, get some really good stills without all of this additional lighting. This is just to make it as consistently clean with clean settings as possible. And again, with the soft light of these domes and the grid and the diffuser, it really makes for a flattering image. So you're gonna have a lot of professionalism out the box. The battery is good. You got an external battery, you have a plug-in battery, which is what I'm doing. You just need to make sure the latch is up. We talked a little bit about the lens and the autofocus, the manual focus. We talked a little bit about, well, I want to show you the screen. Obviously, I can see myself. Let me see right here. I can see myself, so I can see what you're seeing to a degree. That said, it's mirrored. So when I'm seeing myself as I would look in the mirror. So the cool thing about the app actually shows me how how the camera is looking at you. So when I look at this phone, that's exactly the image that the viewer's gonna see, not what you're seeing here. What I'm looking at when I look into the monitor is I'm looking at a mirrored image of myself as if I'm looking in the mirror. When I look at the app, I'm looking at the finished product image and how it's going to look, which is great. So I can see all the little differences that I might want to look at for that professionalism. Again, when you're in 4K, you're doing a close-up. It's very close up. Initially, when I was doing these close-ups of 4K, it was intimidating because it's so in your face. It's very intense, but you get used to it quite pretty quickly. And usually, the people that watch these videos, they understand, and they're just there to get information. They're not really there to critique too much everything you're doing. If they are, don't worry about them. Don't listen to them. Um, let's go ahead and recap a little bit before we wrap up this video. So ease of use, this is a really, really good camera to use out of the box. You'll learn more about it, but you can just start right away. It's lightweight, it's easy to hold, it feels good in your hands. A few buttons here or there. Autofocus does a great job. Batteries are pretty easy to charge, they're pretty easy to carry around. There's a power option where these are sold separately, but you can actually plug in a battery and let it go there so you don't have to worry about the battery losing its ability to charge the camera or provide a power source. I have an external set of audio, which is great. The camera even allows for you to plug that in. So I plug in my Rode Wireless Go. My recording is going straight into the camera. So I take that same file of video and audio, and I just separate the audio for a second, clean up the audio, and then I throw it back in. It syncs perfectly. I don't even have to try to find a sync because I just separate the audio, swap it, put it right back where the first one was, and it's already synced up. Timing's going to be perfect. And then, we have a clean configure. The only thing with the app is the app has its limitations, which we discussed. So that make sure when you're using the app, don't get too frustrated. If it's glitching, turn off the camera, turn off the app, then turn on the camera first. Turn uh, put the app back on, and you'll be set. So turn off camera, close app, turn on camera, open app, and then reconnect them. You should be okay. So I hope this has been helpful on the review on the 4K SL3. I highly recommend it. The link's in the description for you to go ahead and buy it. And thank you for taking the time watching this review.